Ah, the LQ-84 Fenrir, the base model of your 84i Wolf. There are two types of these, you know. Those equipped with chainsaw weaponry like the 84i, and a newer railgun-equipped model. Both are quite agile, especially considering their armor plating. You will need to damage that armor first before you can cleave them in blade mode. Of course, their AI specs are several tiers below the 84i in every way. Intelligent is not a word I would use for them, and I would not expect much in the way of conversation.
Raiden, come in. What is wrong? You knew those cyborgs signed up for this. What's the problem with it now?
Don't you get it, Boris? I thought you of all people might understand. I thought you knew what it means to take a life, the weight of it. Not an easy thing to put into words. What about when the Soviets invaded Afghanistan? You killed dozens of guerrillas.
Duh, because Comrade Brezhnev told me to. Men don't like killing their own kin. Even animals are the same way. But when you really believe in someone or something, sometimes it is the only way. Your cause is just, Raiden. You must remember.
I'm trying, but... Christ. You're right. We've got to free those brains.
Yes. Stay strong, Raiden.
Raiden? You okay?
Yeah. They knew what they signed up for. Maybe life backed them into a corner, but they knew the risks.
Exactly. A contractor's always balancing those risks against the money he's making. Those cops are no different.
That, and they're actively helping Sundowner and Armstrong with all their shit. Having a bit of regret doesn't make killing kids okay.
Yeah, they had to know they were working for the bad guys. Even if they didn't, it doesn't absolve them of all their crimes.
Yeah, I know, Kev, but...
Raiden?
I don't have time to think about this right now. I need to get back to the mission.
Roger that.
Doc, what did Sam do to them?
Well, many cyborg soldiers' emotions are regulated by nanomachine-controlled drug doses and electric stimuli. It sustains the subject's confidence while suppressing fear, anxiety, any emotions detrimental to mission performance, really. I suspect that Desperado also uses it to boost the aggressiveness of their employees. Once, SOP nanomachines were used to control all PMC contractors, not just cyborgs in this way. These days, you can control cyborgs with far more accuracy than ever before. You are connecting directly to their central nervous and control systems, after all.
I know all of that, but how could I hear it?
Emotions can be suppressed in part purely by chemical interaction. This is done by administering dopamine, using beta blockers, cutting off the reabsorption of serotonin. However, emotions are one way in which the brain reacts to the impulses sent from the nervous system. These impulses come in many forms. For example, external information from visual and oral sensors, or input from the somatosensory system and from one's own consciousness. The changes in intraneural balance, the innervation potential, and consciousness that result, these things are what we generally refer to as emotion. In recent years, it has become possible to even alter one's consciousness via the right electrical stimuli. However, retaining full balance with this method still proves difficult. The latest research I've seen has been most enlightening. A suppressed set of emotions creates a closed feedback loop within the subject's consciousness. The cut-off consciousness generates its own emotion on some level based on outside stimuli. But there is no way to actually output this emotion.
The cut-off consciousness?
Well, in an intense combat situation, have you ever felt as if what you are experiencing wasn't real? That you are viewing your own actions from some external vantage point?
Yeah, that does happen sometimes.
Most likely, the sensation is rather close to that. The consciousness is inherently separate from the decision-making parts of the brain. Experiments using functional MRI imaging have revealed much about the decision-making process. For example, did you know that the brain has already come to a conclusion 7 seconds before the decision is consciously made? In any case, while attending the Tucson conference, I heard about the most fascinating experiment. Output from the consciousness was separated from that produced by the decision-making brain. If I had to guess, World Marshal has taken such research and put it into full practical use.
That's crazy. What could it possibly be good for?
Well, Judging by your current state, I'd say it has proven to be quite a useful psychological weapon. Scientists do not engage in pure research because they think it will necessarily prove useful in the future. They are curious. They want to know more, whether about the brain or elemental particles or any other thing. Locating funding for pure science projects is challenging, no doubt. But the results can form the core of future, more practical technologies. Consider the direct links between the theory of relativity and nuclear weapons, for example.
Let me ask you something else. Were those guys even aware of their own internal voices? If so, what does it do to their conscious mind to hear those things? Does it affect them?
A very good question. It would certainly throw one off, I imagine, saying things you never meant to say. The emotional suppression would keep them from being too shaken by it. But then again, were you to develop doubts about your field situation, you'd be unable to do your job. So perhaps not. Then again, some consciousness must be retained in the field to carry out your mission. So perhaps they are not aware of the voices.
So how?
Theoretically, at least, it is quite simple. I imagine that the voice data generated by that part of the brain is run through a reverse phase before being sent to the oral nerves, that is. Not unlike noise-canceling headphones.
Ah, it'd be easier too since you're canceling digital wave data instead of air vibrations.
Precisely. How very sharp of you.
I'm a cyborg too, you know. I see how it works. I just hope this inner voice stuff doesn't last forever.
A tad difficult to fight while taking all that in, is it? I could analyze their data streams, find some way to cancel it out on your end. It may not be easy, though. They use the same compound spread spectrum tech we do.
Don't worry. I'll be okay. All I have to do is not pay attention to it. Can't let myself get rattled here.
Raiden, you appear to be suffering significant mental and emotional confusion. On the surface, you believe your cause for killing cyborgs is just. But deep inside, some part of you does not accept it. Some part of you does not truly believe in your sword of justice. It has lowered your effectiveness in the field.
I know. But if I just throw all that away, I'll...
Do you wish to abort the mission?
No. I'm the only hope those kids have got.
You have an important decision to make, Raiden. And soon. For now, it would be best if you avoided combat altogether.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Raiden? You okay?
Never better, Kev. This guy was a wake-up call is all.
But you...
We'll talk later. Right now, it's time for Monsoon and Jack the Ripper to get acquainted.
A truly fascinating cyborg. Remarkable limb detachment technology. Perhaps you'd benefit from such an ability, Raiden.
Yeah, not interested.
Ah, don't be so dismissive. Just consider it. With the right tactics, it could prove quite useful.
Sure, but, you know, I just don't think I could ever get used to it.
No? Indeed, I suppose detaching parts of your body would be quite a shock to the somatosensory system.
Yeah, that too.
Raiden, this is most irregular.
Humans are irregular, Wolf. You should know that by now. Anyway, no time for chit-chat. I need you to scout out that building.
Understood.